trespass will have a place at the table, quilter or not. That wasn't the only rule defining the Elm Creek Quilters' post-Thanksgiving tradition. On the Friday after Thanksgiving, while others throughout their rural central Pennsylvania Valley were sleeping in or launching the Christmas shopping season, their circle of quilters would gather at the manor for a marathon of quilting to work upon holiday gifts or decorations. At noon, they would break for a potluck lunch of dishes made from leftovers from their family feasts the previous day. Agnes, Sylvia's sister-in-law, called their dinner a patchwork potluck and said the meal befit quilters, whose frugality inspired them to find creative uses for leftover turkey, stuffing, and vegetables, just as they created beautiful and useful works of art from scraps of fabric. Matt rolled onto his back, tucking his hands beneath his head. "Do you think I can get away with bringing the leftover rolls as my dish, even though that wouldn't involve any actual cooking?" "That's a step up from the bowl of corn you reheated in the microwave last year, so I'm going to say yes." "Watch it, sweetheart, or I'll say something I'll regret about how we're lucky there are any leftovers to work with, the way you kept cleaning your plate." "You sound like my mother." Usually that rebuke brought a swift end to Matt's criticism, whether it was in jest or an argument. "I'm eating for 3, remember?" Matt held his hands apart about 6 inches. "Yes, but 2 of you are only this big. If you were feeding yourself and a pair of 3-year-olds, I could understand the need for 5 helpings, but since it's 1 woman in her 30s and 2 fetuses in their 6th month—" "5 helpings?" Sarah protested. "I stopped at 3rds. 3 helpings of dinner plus 2 of dessert equals 5 plate cleanings." Then Matt seemed to think better of proving his point. "But you ate healthy food, and you're taking great care of little Barnum and Bailey. They're lucky to have you for a mother." Sarah laughed. "Barnum and Bailey?" Matt grinned up at her. "Why not?" They didn't know whether the twins were boys or girls or one of each, and they didn't want to know until the moment the babies were born. Most of their friends understood and respected their decision, but some of the Elm Creek Quilters hoped they would change their minds because, they said, it would be easier to make quilts and other gifts if they knew whether the babies were girls or boys. Diane was the most persistent in her complaints, as she was about most things. She was certain that Sarah and Matt had glimpsed the truth during one of Sarah's ultrasounds, but were concealing the secret just to be contrary, so she scrutinized the couple's words and actions for clues. If Sarah preferred a pink fabric for a new quilt project, Diane triumphantly declared that the babies were surely girls. If Matt referred to one of the twins as he, because he or she became annoying after frequent repetition, and he hated to refer to one of his children as it, Diane gleefully teased him about giving away the secret. Always ready to give as good as he got, Matt began calling the babies variously paired names, usually nonsensical duos that amused Sarah and drove Diane crazy. Sarah's favorites included Sugar and Spice, Zig and Zag, Needle and Thread, and Bagel and Schmear. The joke became even funnier when Carol began to worry aloud that Sarah and Matt might seriously consider one of those alarming combinations. Perhaps she was right to worry. Maybe it was the hormones, but Sarah thought Barnum and Bailey had possibilities. "Well, this ringmaster thinks it's time to get this circus on the road." Sarah picked cracker crumbs from her nightgown and threw back the covers. "I have to get started on my turkey tetrazzini." "Now?" "I want to get as much prepared ahead of time before my friends show up." Sarah's stomach rumbled and one of the twins kicked. Apparently the crackers had made little impact. "But I guess it can wait until after breakfast." It was only later, after she had showered and dressed and returned to the bedroom to find the bed made and Matt absent, that she realized she hadn't given him a chance to tell her what he had been thinking about upon waking. Elm Creek Manor wasn't the best place to raise children, Sarah reflected as she